Think about the word activities, everybody. What comes to mind? Activities. Bingo. What else? What comes to mind right away?
Arts and crafts.
Yeah, arts and crafts. What else? Baking. Coffee time. What? Baking. Exercise. What'd you say? Singing. Doing. Oh, you're good. Dr. Bill Thomas is someone that has challenged us to help people not so much do as what? Yes. Let that be our goal. Let's be together instead of do. And guess which side does activities fall on? Be or do? That's the issue, I think, everyone. Actually, I think it brings a connotation of busy work. Would you agree? Unfortunately. We didn't mean for it to do that. I don't mean disrespect to any activity professional in the room. I am one, okay? It's just about language and using it to our advantage instead of our disadvantage. And notice what has happened in our history. How many of you have been guilty or you heard someone say, would you like to come to activities? Well, what is that? You don't invite an adult to activities. Who do you invite to activities? If anyone, right? And we don't even do that. We call it what it is. So if you agree, one little thing you can do is just stop using the word activity. Call it what it is. Talk more about engagement and life and real life and meaning and purpose, and you're going to get so much further, don't you think? All right. Now, even though I just said the word activities, here's an old quote that really helped me on my journey. Activities is not passing time, but making time meaningful. Would you agree? Meaningful. That's the opposite of busy work, right? And notice again with the word program, everybody, it's just not real, right? To come to the program. A program starts and finishes, right? Or I don't want to go to that program, It's just words that fail us again. All right, just for fun, Kevin. Hey, what do you love to do when you don't have to do work, like check email and videotape and stuff like that?
I love to pick mushrooms.
Wow. I love it.
Well, this is Colorado.
Woo! Okay, I love to pick mushrooms. I haven't heard that one yet. That's pretty cool. And I'm looking for people I know, a name I know. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. What do you love to do? What's your name, first of all? Samantha, what do you love to do when you don't have to do work and you don't have to do laundry? I like to hunt, she says. Woo! We got 2 winners here, don't we? 2 unique ones. So here's my point. Do we each assign meaning to time differently? Isn't that cool? So your challenge, everyone, is to find out how your elders assign meaning to time. And you now have the opportunity to honor that better than in a big institution, don't you? It's way more challenging in a big institution. So take that back if you want. Ask people what they love to do when they don't have to do work. Get your colleagues thinking along those lines, and then find out from the people who live there what that is for them. Ask them if they like to pick mushrooms or hunt, or what it is that they love to do. So what are you offering? Are you offering real and normal life? Or, forgive me for asking greenhouses, are you still offering institutional life? I don't know. And now what's the difference? What would you say the difference is between real life, normal life, and institutional life? What words come to mind?
The difference between a jacket and a straight jacket.
Okay, would you please write that down for me and give it to me? I'm going to quote you. What's your name?
John.
John. That is the best definition of that I've ever heard. The difference. See how wise the sages are, everyone? Round of applause for John. Wow. The difference between a jacket and a straitjacket. John, thank you so much. That's it. All right. I've said a lot about language already, but along the ideas of activities, does anyone know what a day room is? Day room. Do any of you have one in your house? And if you did, you're never there in the day, so then what is it? The night room. It's just so weird, right? Activity room, lobby. How many of you have a lobby in your house? See? Look at all these beautiful things you've done away with by virtue of being the greenhouse. How many of you no longer use the term refused in your charting? No longer use the word refused. Guess what, guys? Guess what refused implies? She refused. She's a problem. There it is again, see? What's a better word, softer word? She declined. Do you see? In the word decline, there's an assumption she actually had a what? Isn't that cool? Does refuse do that? No. All right. And who wants home like? Ugh. Anybody? Nancy Fox has a famous quote. It's sort of like we'd put food in front of people and say, here's some food-like substance. Welcome to your home-like environment. So again, you guys have that, you have it. Any other terms, especially around activities? Socially isolated. I have come to terms with this, everyone. Who are we to say someone should get out of their room? Are you with me? I had to come to terms with that. So be careful. If someone was a loner their whole life, are we going to change them? No. So honor the fact. How many of you would love to be alone for a while? Anybody? How many of you have some books you're dying to read? Is it just me? See? We have to honor that people are okay by themselves. Now, if it's a change that chit-chatty Carmen isn't chit-chatty anymore and it might imply something else, that's different, right? It's not a judgment, but it's a good observation. All right. How many of us are guilty of passing around the towels to the people with dementia and asking if they could please fold them for us? Is it real? Thank you for admitting it. Some of us are guilty. Now, is that fake life or real life? Fake. Guess what? I was doing this, talking about this many years ago in South Dakota. Someone in the crowd raised his hand. He goes, you know what? It just happened yesterday. When we brought back the same towels, all unfolded, guess what she said? So this guy in South Dakota in a session is saying, here's what she said, I just folded those damn towels. Another good quote, right, John? So please, guys, if you have people fold things, it should be real, okay? Real. Fold real linen napkins, real towels. Now, is infection control an issue? Yes. And even if I wear gloves, remember, gloves are not the answer. Can people have bad practice with a glove on? If I have bad practice, I'm not the one to fold the towels, okay? That's it. Pick the ones who have good practice, who you don't worry about, and help them be engaged with real life. What else is fake, everybody? Fake, fake, fake. Are dolls fake? Now, nobody get mad at me. I'm just raising the issue. Dr. Al Powers, in his book, points out that dolls are artificial. Now, I know you may not be able to have a baby in there 24/7, but the goal should be babies, not dolls. Would you agree? Make it your goal, not just one of you, all of you, to get more children, more babies in there. Welcome, invite, get the word out. We want them, we need them. They make a difference in people's lives, way more than a doll, right? What else is fake? How many of you are looking forward to near beer? Me neither. Eric? Oh, duels, right. Now, some people want it. That's different, right? But to serve it and call it one thing, that's fake, right? And lying. All right. Do you vote for engagement or disengagement? What's your vote? Engagement. Do you vote for real life or activity programming? And do you vote for highest practicable level of well-being or slumping? Okay, everybody do it. Ready? Slump. Wow, you're all crooked to me. Just think, life is crooked when you slump. Now, that is not meant irreverently or disrespectfully, but did you know there's a story behind it, that when someone visited the household model at Meadowlark Hills in Manhattan, Kansas many years ago, Steve Shields is giving someone a tour, and so they're going, just like your greenhouse, they're going house to house, and this woman keeps saying, but where are the nursing home people? And he's like, these are them, the next house. But where are the really sick people? These are them. And then she finally says, but where are the slumpers? She admits what she's looking for. Isn't that funny? Her word, not mine. But is that the public's opinion? And see, once again, because you have a real house with a real dining room table and a real kitchen, I would think you have a lot less slumping. Am I right? I don't know. I'm asking. Theoretically, there should be no slumping in a greenhouse. Is that fair to say? And if there is, guys, that person's probably being what? What's the real issue? They're being woken up too early, perhaps. Maybe they should be lying down, right? It's not safe, really, to sit like this. It's not healthy, right? So just beware. If someone's slumping, there's probably more to the story that you can figure out. Here's some of my favorite pictures of engagement, real life, and highest practicable. These people live with dementia in a locked assisted living here in Colorado. The ladies on the left are cutting fruit for the snack for the residents with a knife. Did I mention dementia? Now see, that's no big deal to you guys. How many of you have elders cutting fruit? Raise your hand. I want to know. Oh, I'm so happy. This is like a highlight of my life. I mean it. Because is that happening in most institutions? Oh, no. See, my point here, everyone, is we do not give people the benefit of the doubt when they have dementia. We strip away real life, don't we? We worry that something will go wrong. Now, rightfully so, but here's the answer. If I have a history of doing things with sharp items, then I'm not the one. That's it. Don't ask me to cut the fruit. Have me do something else. That's it. But do most women, even with dementia, probably know what to do with a knife and a piece of fruit? Yes or no? You guys do this every day, not me. Yes. It's kind of a win-win. Most do know what to do, and they won't get hurt. Now, the gentlemen on the right are serving one another the fruit. Isn't that glorious? Now, who's usually doing all that work? Now, I don't mean to say they should do our work, right? I said that already. But does that give meaning and purpose to people? Because what is the Eden principle? What's usually happening? Everyone is being served, right? Served ad nauseum, right? Don't you think that's giving some joy and pleasure to those people to serve one another? Absolutely. How about tending to the flowers or actually sweeping the leaves? How many of you have actually seen gentlemen that live there sweep the leaves? I have not ever seen it. So, real life, who's usually doing all that work? Maintenance, right. And again, I don't mean to say make them do our work. We want to give them the antidote to helplessness is the opportunity to give what? Care. Engagement, real life, meaningful life. That woman is actually sewing with a real sewing machine. That man is actually ironing with a real iron. That's pretty exciting, don't you think? It's pretty sad what I get excited about. How about you? Really, think about it. When you're in college, did you think you'd get that excited about some man ironing? Or cutting fruit? Or, not using the word bib? Did anyone think we'd get this excited about these little things? I mean, think about it. We should have never had to change these things. All right, up in Minnesota, this is a household model nursing home, and this would apply to you all. And that is when you stop doing things in silos, here's what they say in Minnesota. You get really good use out of the bus. When more people can drive the bus, is the bus going to go more places? So here's what I recommend at an all-staff meeting. Pretend you're in my all-staff meeting, okay? How many of you would be willing to learn to drive the bus? Raise your hand. She already had her hand up before I said it. Woo! Go. See, guys, just do that. Grow the list of people who can drive the bus, the van, whatever it is. Get them on the insurance, okay? And you'll get great use out of the bus. You have the perfect situation to do that. Here's a woman washing her own clothes. Do you have this, I presume? Yes? Are residents washing their own clothes? If they're not, do you have family members taking clothes home? I'm curious. Yes or no? Yes? Family members? Yes, no. I love no. Guys, those that are still doing it, invite them not to. Invite them to do the wash there. Oh, good. But they're not taking it to their house, right? Do any of you have family members taking it home to their house? Okay, are you hearing me? Invite them not to. Invite them to do it in the house, because what could they do while they're waiting for the washer and dryer? Yes, take them outside, do stuff, bake, talk, look at pictures. You got it, right? Invite them to stay. We need them. We need them to stay more than we need them to leave, right? And you have the opportunity for them to do the wash there. All right, in this book, I actually got to stay, not overnight, but I went to this household in Minnesota for a week. And some things we learned that probably apply to you. Discover what brings people together. One nurse and one elder found out they both love to go garage sailing. So now guess who leads the garage sailing every Saturday? The nurse drives the bus. They invite the other elders from the other households. You could do that. The other elders from the other greenhouses. And are they living real life? Garage sailing? Yes. Isn't that cool? So find out what connects people and do it and invite people to join. Getting out of the house. Are any of you going to need to get out of the house when you live there? Hopefully this is a priority in your place. People need to get out as much as possible. As you get more and more people to drive the bus, it'll be more possible. Invite people over. Are you helping your elders to host? I learned this from Lavreen Norton, and the household model applies to you. Our elders need to continue to be able to host. Have they hosted their whole life? Are they famous for some dishes? Are they famous for some baked goods? Yes. Invite your family, see, while they're waiting on the laundry to help mom bake the cinnamon rolls she's famous for. Help people be famous, guys. Find out what they're famous for, okay? Support with house money. Do you guys do this? Do you have money that elders are in charge of? Consider this, everyone. Give them part of the budget that's theirs. Give them the activity budget. Let them make the decisions. Who lives there? Who lives there? Do you live there? No. Feels like it some days, I know. But you actually go home to your bed, right? They live there. Whose money is it really? Whose budget is it really? Greenhouses, try to live up to that. That's fantastic. There's the rummage sailing. Somebody actually made a little cart for behind the golf cart. Isn't that great? I wish it had all their paraphernalia that they bought. That'd be even fun, more fun. All right. Are you asking the hard questions, everybody? One thing I learned living in the household model, I'd probably see it in your greenhouses as well, is that could it be that what we call one-to-ones, are y'all with me? The institutional practice of one-to-ones, could they be just a Band-Aid for what? Boredom, loneliness, helplessness. I'm just posing the question. I don't know all the answers, but I realized seeing people live in family, live in a house, you don't need the institutional programs of one-to-ones. You probably shouldn't. Does that make sense? Now, there's always unique scenarios. I'm not saying you can't, right? But maybe think about that. If you're still addressing and assessing people as needing one-to-ones, do they really? Is something the matter in your greenhouse that they're not getting enough? I don't even want to say socialization, but whatever it is that they need, okay? And here's another idea. You know, the activity staff can't do it alone, can they? And again, you have a better model for this. Are you all sharing in the engagement of residents instead of only looking to one set of staff? I hope so. If you're still working on that, an easy thought would be those people that don't have a lot of family that we maybe would have assessed for one-to-ones, let your team know, not many people visit Carmen. She doesn't do much. She doesn't like the groups. I need your help. Who wants to pick it up with Carmen, okay? And just let people know what's needed. All right, so another, what words are you guys using? What's your title, Eric?
Manager of Recreation Therapy.
Okay, but haven't I seen another title like meaningful engagement? Community life is pretty common in the household environment, everybody. Personally, I think it's great. Does anyone else? Because you do represent a community, and there is life in this community. So consider that. No offense to therapeutic rec guys, but it's not normal. None of us talk about, I can't wait to do my therapeutic rec this weekend. I mean, think about what's normal language. Even though it might be our degree, it's not normal. Leisure. Who talks about their leisure? Do you? Me neither. Okay, so just think normal and think equal. We're all equals, right? The elders are equals. So what can you do to equalize? I love this idea. We put that in that book. Here's a sad example. When Katrina happened in 2005, the sad example of being equal was that you will hear elders and staff members say, we were not staff and residents. We were people fighting for our life. Does that make sense? So that's the sad example. Happy examples are things like a choir, right? If you're in a choir, are you staff and residents? No, you're the choir members, see? When there's a talent show, are you staff and residents? You're people having a fun talent show. A baby shower for someone having a baby, planning it. Elders, staff together. See, we're people, friends, planning the baby shower for our friend. What else would be equalizing? What do you think? What comes to mind? Equalizing. What? What? Oh, well, you're onto something. How many of you eat lunch with the elders? Raise your hand, raise your hand. See, good for you. If you're not, we would invite you to do it. It's a simple way to equalize. We're equal. We all eat lunch. That's it, okay? So think equal. Maybe talk about that. The community meeting, remember? If the community is making decisions every morning, are we equals? Isn't that beautiful? And then we did a lot of talk already about highest practicable. From tag 248, check out this wonderful regulatory language. Activities can occur at any time. They are not limited to formal activities provided by activity staff. They can be provided by other staff, volunteers, visitors, and family. All relevant departments should collaborate to develop and implement a program for each resident. So, again, you have the perfect setup for that. Are you doing it to the extent you could be? Are you getting visitors, volunteers, family, and even the elders themselves to, I'm not going to say lead an activity, I can't do it, to engage others, whatever that is, right? It might be one-on-one with one person, right? It might be lead a group, it might not. In the artifacts tool, how many of you are familiar with the artifacts of culture change measurement tool? I actually co-developed it with CMS way back in 2006. It's a tool to measure culture change if you're interested. Free of use, it's got its own website with the same name. We utilize this as one of our items, activities, informal or formal, led by other people. So trying to get to that idea. Here's two fun stories. How much time do I have? Somebody tell me. Thank you. 2 minutes. Here we go. 2 minutes, 2 stories. A long time ago, Eric Heider in Missouri told each team, each neighborhood, that he wanted to see a spontaneous activity every day. Thank you, John. People who get it start laughing. He actually mandated what? Spontaneity. And guess what? He was brilliant to do so. You could do that. Here's the thing about a mandate, everyone, that I've learned. It starts to change the culture when you do make someone do a good thing, okay? And then after a while, you don't need to mandate it because what? It's happening on its own. Isn't that cool? Another story, Brenda Hancock here in Colorado did the similar thing. She told each manager she wanted them involved. She might have said activity, 10 years ago, in an activity once a month. She herself started the garden club. Guess who great people are to learn how to garden from? Older people who know how to do it. And the DON does root beer floats on Fridays. Notice the mandate was once a what? Month. She ended up just making root beer floats on Fridays. It became her thing with her residents. So make a thing, make a mandate, whatever you got to do to crack open some more engagement. So I've got some great quotes about boredom and et cetera. And if I have time, I'm sorry, I talk a lot. I will come back to this at the end if I have time. And now I would like to, Eric, I don't have your bio, but Eric is, come on up, at John Knox Village. You are the director of, you already heard it. Okay, director of Life Enrichment, Community Life. Take your pick. And Eric, you just hit it on the right.
Okay, you hit a button.
Yeah. Do you want to hold this or you want to stand there? Okay. Thank you, Eric.
Good morning. How's everybody doing? My name's Eric Nenordis, and I'm the manager of recreation therapy at John Knox Village. I'm the greenhouse educator. I'm going to be a future guide. I also teach kickboxing and boot camp at John Knox Village for our staff members. So I graduated at University of Florida in 1996 with my degree in recreation therapy. And then 2 weeks later after graduating, I got a job at John Knox Village. And I've been there for the last 19 years. And things have not really changed. I have been working in the health center, which is a traditional, nursing home. Long corridors, beds A and B, and everything, and all the activities are what? They're dictated by the clock. So activities have to start at this time because breakfast ended at this time, and yada, yada, yada. So in the last 4 years, we made a change. We're going to go and adopt the greenhouse model. Woohoo! So in April of next year, we're going to be, well, it's already building, but we're going to start and open up our doors to a 7-story, all right, greenhouse healthcare building called the Woodlands. First floor, there's going to be a convocation room and a bistro, but second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh floor, 2 homes on each floor. 12 homes of 12, a total of 144 beds. So I'm super, super excited about that. Now, that was John Knox Village's transformation. I had to be transformed personally. So when I became a core trainer, okay, become an educator, I had to go to the Eddy. And you know what? I'll be honest, I was on the fence. I saw the videos. I'm like, okay. So, it was required to see, a home in the morning, afternoon, and evening. Well, when I saw the homes, I opened the door, and it was like the lights went on. It was like, oh! I'm like, this is how it should be. This is it. What I've been doing for 19 years is like not really cool, okay? It's like so wrong, okay? And I got back, and I'm all fired up, and well, I wasn't really dancing like that, and I told some people, and I said, if we do not adopt this model of the greenhouse, guess what? I can't go back to what we're doing. I can't. And they said, Eric, don't worry, we're doing the greenhouse. I'm like, yes, okay? So that leads me into engagement, okay? So I just wanted to read something. It says, meaningful life is engagement. It's living, growing, and thriving. Everybody say that. Living, growing, and thriving. So at John Knox Village, we will have spontaneous activity in the greenhouse homes, but we want you to plan some meaningful days, and I'm not going to say programs, and meaningful engagement before these doors open so they're available to the Shabbazim and the elders. Engagement they wanted to bring over before the greenhouse opens. So everything I'm going to show to you, it's not like something I'm like, well, you know what? We're going to do this because we think it's cool and we're going to do it. No, these are things that the elders in the health center now are being introduced to, and they're enjoying it, and their success stories after trial and error, and we're going to bring it over, okay? So I want you to say, elders rule. Elders rule. One more time, elders rule. Elders rule. All right, because we want their greenhouse experience to be amazing. All right, really amazing. Opportunities to be spontaneous, opportunities to have variety, opportunities to have the F word, fun. All right, you want to have fun and not be dictated by the clock. All right, and to be able to, and one more group thing, able to THRIVE, to what? Thrive in the home. All right, I want to explain the greenhouse model. Why is it a greenhouse model? What is greenhouse project? You guys growing stuff? I'm like, no, greenhouse project means things are green. And when things are green, they grow. And when they grow, they thrive. So our elders are going to what? Thrive in these homes. They're not going to be stagnant. They're going to grow and use whatever things they still have and give out to children or help other people. They still have the responsibility in the home to thrive and be green. Yes. Okay, so now I can go to my first slide. Okay, so my first program. Who saw Live Inside? Okay. Wow, I was touched. And here are some pictures of some of our elders, okay? So when I saw that, I text Jerry, and I said, Jerry, I'm doing this. I'm doing this. So people are going, well, what? Do you have a big budget? Da-da-da. No. I asked for people to please donate whatever old iPods you have. I'll be honest, I have an iPhone. It's still the old one, the 4. But people have old iPods and stuff. So they donated, and I had a plethora of them. And then some people saw me starting to do the program, and they said, you know what? I'm going to donate some to you, okay? And then I was going to go on iTunes and start spending money on music. And then I thought, duh, people have their own music. So I built up my own. I went on my computer, and they said, oh, you have Frank Sinatra, you have Perry Como, you have the Eagles, cool, you have Al Power stuff, great, bring it over. I burned the stuff, okay, and then each iPod, I would put I'll label it. Label number 1 would be, Frank Sinatra. Number 2 would be Al Power, and so forth. And then some were left blank. Because if Elder Jerry wanted to listen to something, I would find out what he liked. And then, oh, you like this, this, this? I would go to my computer, dude, 3 minutes. It's charged up. He would have it, okay? Now I have volunteers that come in. I explain the program. They take the iPod. They volunteer. They help out. It is so cool, all right? And I've seen residents who were like this, okay? Just like the video. I'm like, yeah, is this really real? But people who are just like this in the groups, like like that, and they put on Frank Sinatra, and they start moving, and then residents go, oh my God, look at this. And he's tapping his feet, and he was a drummer, and he's drumming, and I'm just like blown away, okay? So this is something we're definitely gonna bring on over. Were there trials and errors? Yes, like, Eric, you forgot to charge the iPod. Or, you didn't explain this well enough. But we got all the, the tweaks out, so it's going to be successful in the future, okay? So I love this program. Makes people happy. And some of the residents, some of the elders keep them in the rooms. They could charge themselves. Some I will only give them for 10 minutes. And I keep a little log, and I'll go back in 10 minutes because that's all they could take. And then the volunteers, sometimes they take it at home. And they leave it at home, and then they visit the people they want to see. Okay? Great program. Sorry. Great, meaningful day. I can't say the P word, okay? All right? Great engagement, okay? I'm going to get zapped every time I say program. All right, Life Bio. Beth Sander was here, okay? All right, 2 years, been working with her. This is a great, where's she? Can you please stand up? Hi. I love her, okay? I mean, we've been working hand in hand and just awesome. And basically with the Life Bio, you want to have a deep knowing of your elder, okay? So why begin when the greenhouse opens? If you have the opportunity, start now. Start now, okay? And we just recently had a nurse and a Shabazim. We have volunteers, my staff, doing these Life Bios. And people say, well, it's kind of difficult. We got to go on the tablets. Well, Beth has a program where I will give you a book. You visit someone, you handwrite it, you take your time, you scan it, all right, to Beth. She then sends it back in a matter of 3 days, all right, express mail, and it's complete. And then you have the person's book, okay? And you can leave this in the room. And then you have a snapshot, which you frame, okay? You get permission, of course, all right? And you put this outside their door, all right? So when people come over, they get to know their elder, all right? How awesome is that? There's another thing called the Pele assessment, okay? And there's some people, it's a greenhouse assessment. Some people choose not to use it. Some people use it perfectly, the 13 pages. I've decided to tweak it, all right? We have dietary aspects, the activity aspects, and some nursing. And maybe start using this now too, okay? Look at it, tweak it, okay, to what you need, and then have your future, if you know that you have CNAs or you're training to be Shabazims, they're going to go to your future greenhouse home, okay? Have them use it now to get to know their elders, all right? What a great thing. And then even if they go into a home where that elder's not their home, they've used it, they're used to it, and it's not something that's foreign to them. Okay, makes sense? All right, wonderful thing to do. So deep knowing, all right, Life Bio, the Pele. 5 minutes left? Woo, okay. Deep knowing, meaningful engagement, okay? Here's just an example. Life Bio, here's Charlie. We learned that he loved to play the saxophone, okay? So we invited a saxophone player to come in, and we surprised him, and there's a guy playing the saxophone. He gave Charlie another saxophone. He was able to play some stuff. And Charlie played background music with the sax to Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin back in the day, okay? He was like the, what were they called? I forgot what the Rat Pack. He was the 16th member. I don't know. Okay, isn't that cool? Trips and transportation. All right, Carmen was discussing that, okay? We want to have trips. You want to have transportation. Scout your area out, okay? Don't wait till the doors open going, where's the nearest restaurant? Is there a beach? Do that now. See what's available. See what's wheelchair accessible, okay? Do those kind of things now. Do you have enough buses? Do you have enough staff to do that? I know at John Knox Village in our health center, we do 3 trips a month. Boom, we're going to have 8 of the 12 homes having trips. And I asked the elders, they want to have 2 trips monthly. We're up to 16 now, okay? So plan in advance. Talk to your budget team. Make sure there's enough money allocated to have your drivers. Make sure you have enough buses, okay? All right? I would slow down, but I'm being dictated by the clock. I know. I'm just joking. All right. Yes, horticulture. All right, here's one thing. Tower gardens, we were introduced to this. We're going to be 7 stories high, okay? And we wanted to have aeroponic. There's no soil, okay? So there's just seeds, all right, the air and water, which has some, organic stuff put into the water, and you could grow your own food, okay? So we've had amazing success stories with this, all right? And we're going to have one on each patio. Yes, we're going to take the elders downstairs, and we're going to have gardens where they could get their hands dirty. But let's say you just have that one elder who I don't want to get my hands dirty, or they just don't want to go downstairs. They choose, all right, to stay in their home. I still want to have them to have horticulture. So we could do things like this. They grow their own food. They love it, and they harvest and have things like this. That's a salad from one of our tower gardens. Isn't that cool? All right, that's everything we grew, okay? Have we made some mistakes along the line? Yes. All right, too much water, too much of the stuff, too much sunlight. We decided to grow watermelons, and they weigh 30 pounds. And, you got to pick the right stuff, okay? All right? If we were in Colorado, we might be growing different things, but hey. Jerry didn't smile. Oh, he smiled. Okay. All right. You need volunteers, okay? So you know what? If you have a good volunteer program now and you're going to be moving into your new greenhouse home, teach them about the philosophy, real home, okay? Empowered staff, meaningful life. Let them know all these things, okay? And right now when I have volunteers, I'm like, well, you're going to visit this corridor, room 224B, and you see these residents in 117B. Now my volunteers are going to be assigned homes. How cool is that? So they're going to be like, all right, you're going to be in the Johnson home on the 3rd floor, okay? So they get to work with them, okay? Get deeper knowing, and then they could actually start doing activities with them and help the Shabazims. I think I had a couple more. Relationships with school children, that's a given, all right? Elders give back to the children with their knowledge, and children give back to the elders by teaching them new things, okay? So you don't have fake babies, all right? So like I said about the trips, you check out daycare centers, your local schools, all right? You have them come in, assist, and help. College student assistance, okay? All right? There's all kinds of schools, and a lot of them have to do volunteer work, all right? They have to go into, all right, and work with the elderly. It's part of their criteria. So if you have a culinary school, how cool is that? Maybe they could work with your Shabazim and do an activity, right? Nursing students, all right, could learn more about the greenhouse model and spread the wings and get that stuff out there. If it's an art school, how cool is that? All right? Oh, I see in my thing that I have to work with the elders. So I'm going to go, and my volunteer hours will be doing art projects. And that person who was an exquisite painter but didn't want to, well, now can be encouraged by students from colleges. And that's it. Did I finish right on time? Yay! Thank you. I would like to now introduce Doreen Francis. Is a Shabazz at the Eddy Village Green in New York.
Yes.
Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Good morning. Once again, my name is Doreen Francis. I'm a Shabazz at the Eddy Village Green, House 10, Cohoes, New York. Eddy Village Green campus is nearly 8 years old. We have 16 houses, and there are 12 elders who live in each house. We have 192 elders living on our campus and 350 employees who provide care in a variety of ways. We are the largest greenhouse in the United States with no legacy facility. I would like to take this opportunity and introduce a project I created called Elder of the Month. It's a celebration of an elder's life to tell their story, to tell their life. The idea and how it began. Elder of the Month originated through a group discussion. The team and I, along with our elders, were telling a story of a life event. We were sharing stories. As we went around the table, I thought, wow, these stories need to be heard. How could I possibly do that? How could I possibly celebrate their life, tell their life story? I thought we had 12 elders. There's 12 months. Got to be something I can do with that. Kind of goes together, doesn't it? I then thought of a project called Elder of the Month. What I did, I brought the idea to our sage, Carolyn Peck, who plays a big role in this. I'm very proud of her. I shared the story with her, and she said, Doreen, let's go with it. We presented it to our elders. We shared the idea of what we'd like to do. They gave us our blessing. We put 12 numbers in a hat, and we had each elder draw a number. We then placed 12 months in a hat. Each elder drew their month in accordance to the number that they drew. With that, we started our Elder of the Month project. Getting to know our elder. Who are they? What makes them who they are? Why are they who they are? Through this project, we find some of the answers to these questions. Communication and participation with elders, family members, friends, and team. We all engage with each other. We talk, we share stories, we open the lines of communication on a more personal level as we gather information and further develop our relationships. Researching an elder's life, their family history. Our resources, of course, the elder, their families, friends, and team. We interview, we use photos, online research, newspaper articles. What we learn about our elder. Family history background, interaction with friends, education, languages, careers, military service background. We learn of their residencies, and in most cases, they lived in a lot of places. We learn the religion and involvement, their travel, their hobbies, their musical background, their community service, their time donated. That's a lot of information to learn. Putting the story together, the poster board. With the knowledge we gather, the team and elders put the story in place to highlight their life story. We break it down into 3 teams. Team 1 is our team of elders and staff working together, presenting the theme, the story. Team 2, the critics team. Can anybody guess who they are? Anybody got an answer? You got it, the elders. And they are the good critics, trust me. They finalize the board, making sure photos, newspaper articles, and all information is properly placed. Team 3 is the pasting committee. Our board is now in place, and all information is posted and placed by the team and our elders. The celebration, the presentation. It's the gathering of elders, family, friends, and team. The presentation of flowers. The life story of the elder is now shared and celebrated. In this particular presentation, our elder loved her flower gardens. She owned a flower garden every home she resided in. So we chose to give her flowers, fresh flowers, and her daughter presented the flowers to her in the presentation. We get pretty creative with that, with the elders. The benefits rewards from the Elder of the Month project. We have relationship growth and development with the elder, families, friends, and team. We become connected. Elders, family, friends, and team are engaging. They're communicating. We hang our boards up all through the house for when our friends, relatives, anybody who comes into our house, they see the elder's life story. They recognize them for who they are, and most of all, they recognize them as a person. They're not just an old person sitting in a chair anymore. We provide for a better understanding of our elder, which leads to better care, nurturing, and raises the level of respect. We have growth in activities. It enhances the quality of life for our elders. We give back. We make a difference. I wish my father had the opportunity we offer in the greenhouse model. I would like to share a little story how we become connected. I was talking to Becky one day. Becky is an RN. And I said to Becky, I said, wow, your parents must have been very proud of you growing up. Becky looked at me, and she rolled her eyes, put her head down, and I thought, wow, she don't want to admit how proud they are, but it's what I didn't know. Becky lost her father at the age of 4 years old to a coal mining accident in Minnesota. Imagine how I felt. Well, I connected with Becky on a totally different level through my father. My father, too, lost his father at the age of 4 through his career. My grandfather was a famous artist in Italy and mixed his own paints. And my father lost him. So through my father, I connected with Becky, and me and Becky now respond to each other in a whole different way. And when I was telling Becky my story of my grandfather, she looked up at me and she said, well, Doreen, you understand. I said, yes, I do. In speaking of our Elder of the Month, I introduce to you Becky Curley. Becky was born 12/24/1917. Becky's parents, Wayne and Elsa Venzio, are from Finland. They traveled through Canada to reside to Minnesota. Becky's mother, after the loss of her husband, became a seamstress and purchased a dress shop. She taught Becky how to sew and make dresses. Becky worked in her mom's dress shop until she graduated from Chisholm Public School. Becky then went on to Michael Reese Medical School in Chicago to become an RN. It was there she met her husband, Dwight, a mechanical engineer. They were married on Valentine's Day, February 14th, 1944. And we found out through this project, her husband made several quotes in many articles referring to Becky as the love of his life. He worked where Becky went to school for her RN. He was an elevator operator. One day, Becky got on the elevator, and as she was getting off, he said, there goes the love of my life. There goes my wife. They resided in Vermont, Florida, California, and Denver, Colorado. While in California, her husband Dwight was employed by Lockheed. Becky gave birth to 2 daughters and 1 son. Currently, she has 6 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild. In 1965, they moved their family back to Vermont. Becky and her husband were very adventurous in their world travels. On one of their trips, her husband, at the age of 82, went bungee jumping off a bridge at the highest peak in the world. Can you imagine that? At the age of 88, Becky was still horseback riding, and at the age of 87, Becky's husband passed away. Becky was a Girl Scout and a Boy Scout leader and a member of the PTA. Her hobbies, she played the violin, she led an orchestra band, she went horseback riding, she loved reading, traveling, polka dancing, and her flower gardens. Her favorite band, the Beach Boys. And when you put the Beach Boys on, this woman can rock it. I'm here to tell you. Oh, could she dance? Her favorite movie is Lawrence of Arabia. I love this woman. She traveled by bus as she loved sightseeing up until the age of 90. Becky was heavily involved in her church. She volunteered her services in making the robes for the altar boys and the priests. That's a lot of information. Our story of Elder of the Month grows. We are always creating new memories for our elders at Eddy Village Green. Our elders will always be honored, and new memories will be added to our poster boards and celebrated on that Elders Month of every year. Upon their passing, his family will be presented with their poster board. As a new elder arrives, they will have that month and a new life added to our family at Eddy Village Green, House 10, we will be honored and celebrated. Thank you all for who attended. I would like and try to encourage all of you to take a piece of this project, if not the whole thing. You can become very creative with it. You can honestly make it your own. And it means so much to the elder to hear their life story, how involved we become in their life. With knowledge comes growth. With growth comes creative thinking. The more we know, the more we can do. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
very much.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
So I am Mary Hoffner Thomas. I'm a project manager, and I'm going to bring Carmen up here really fast, but I just said we can't do this session without explaining to all of you that if you're not aware, the Greenhouse Project really has the Meaningful Life and Engagement web-based education. So it's a 4 web-based modules, and it kind of goes through it. I'm just going to run through these really fast. It's very much like Encore. So if you're familiar with Encore, if you're using that out in your homes, it runs in the same way. There are 4 different modules. It'll take you through it. Dr. Bill is part of what is included. Eric was talking about living, growing, and thriving, and so all of that is part of it. The modules, all of this is online, so I want to get Carmen back up here. I just want to encourage you that if you haven't used it, to go ahead and check it out. If you're an open and operating greenhouse home, then Rachel Shear McLean would be the person that you would contact about getting involved with it. There's a person here at Healthcare Interactive, and you can sign up. It's a free kind of piece. You can use it in many different ways. We also have a webinar that we've done that's on the Pure Network side, so that will also give you some ideas, in fact, how you can actually use it. Another slide here just kind of talks about the different pieces that we have for educational resources. So all of those are there for you to use. So if you have questions, you can ask me about it. I just wanted to make sure in this venue, you guys were all aware that that existed. Back to you, Carmen.
Let's do questions for Doreen first. Anybody? Doreen's wonderful. Notice what she called it? What'd she call it? Here's a hint. Isn't that cool? Question. Doreen, here's a question. Can you go to the podium, Doreen, please?
Doreen, I'm just wondering if your project is it all in 16 homes? Is it just in one home or all 16?
No, actually, House 1, we have a sage in House 1 now, and they are going to be doing that project in House 1. And about 4 other houses, we're all putting it together, and we're going to work as a team, and we're going to get together with their guides, and we're going to make it happen for each house. We would like to see every house on campus do this project or start out with a small part of the project. It's a growing project.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else for Doreen, everybody? Yes.
How do you get information for an elder for families who are not really involved and they're not very verbal and they can't recall that history?
Actually, that's a good question. Our team works very closely together in our SAGE. And let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. When I get home, we're going to be doing another presentation for Ellen, our Elder of the Month. And interviewing Ellen, she has no family left. When I was interviewing Ellen, I asked her for some pictures of her father and her as she was a baby, because I'd like to get the whole story from when they were born on up. Ellen said to me, Doreen, I don't have any pictures of me and my father. And I felt really sad about that. When I finished our interview process, me and Ellen, I went out to our sage and I said, Carolyn, what can we do? She has no pictures of her father and her as she was a baby. She said, hold on, Doreen, we got him. Our sage went to our sage in House 1, and we found out Ellen grew up with the sage in House 1. They're best friends. She gave us pictures, beautiful pictures that we are going to have framed, and we're going to present them to Ellen at her presentation of her and her father as a newborn baby and all through the years of her life.
Wow.
And we also, at this presentation, we have her best friends coming. She has no idea. We also have our Congressman McNulty coming. He will be joining in, and they are all going to speak of Ellen about their life history with her. So it is a growing project. We have a lot of people now involved. We have the community involved. We make it work at the Eddy Village Green.
So in other words, don't give up.
We never give
There's
up.
information through family, friends. You never know, right?
You will find that information.
That's cool. All right. Anybody else? Eric, why don't you come up? Anything for Doreen? Anybody? Yes? John.
After you go through the cycle once, 12 elders, 12 months, come to the next year, do you just reprise a repetition, or do you try to take a different approach, add new aspects and so forth?
We always, at the Eddy Village Green, we always create new memories for our elders. We always provide, we share new things with our elders, and we will celebrate on that month of the next year of all the new memories that we created through our family, our friends. We are always inviting friends to come in. We always have our cameras out. We always have wonderful events for our elders. And they will be celebrated and added to that poster board. And every year, on that month that comes, we will do a whole new celebration for that elder. It'll never stop, never ends.
She's got this figured out, doesn't she? Woo.
I do.
All right. Round of applause for Doreen. Thank you, Doreen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. And questions for Eric? Questions for Eric. All right.
Don't be shy.
Eric, you explained everything so well. There's no questions. How many of you are doing music and movement? The whole yay. I could see greenhouses almost mandating it. How about you? I could see greenhouses almost mandating Elder of the Month. How about you? Round of applause for Eric.
So you mentioned the use of the PELI, the Preferences for Everyday Living Inventory, which I'm actually using for my master's thesis. And can you talk a little bit about some of the experiences of the staff and the Shabazz? Do they find that tool challenging? It's pretty lengthy. I don't know if anything.
Well, that was a problem at first because it was like 13 to 16 pages long.
Yeah, it's
When you
70.
get
It's a 72-item assessment.
Yeah.
So it's pretty long.
You know, for example, do you like music in the original one? And it would say, you know, country, and there'd be a different, you know, like 16 different genres. So we just said, do you like country music? Do you like this? Cut it down, all right? And then it was all kind of activity-based, you know, so the nurses just want to ask a couple simple questions, like what time you want to wake up, what time you want to get up. Dietary, what time do you like to have breakfast? What time do you like to have lunch, dinner? And it's been pretty simple. Yeah. Yep. It takes a while for them to get used to it, but that's why we're doing it now. So when we open up in 4 months, they got a handle on it.
Great. Yeah, thank you. We're always looking for input.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you, Eric.
Okay, thank you.
Everybody, having developed an assessment myself, I just want to put in a plug to not be afraid of long ones, okay? Here's a couple thoughts. On that Peli, which I'm not that familiar with, but when there's a long list of things, what I've come to realize is really it's a prompt for you. Maybe you can't think of every kind of music right this minute, but it's on the list, see? In the assessment we did, it's similar. So when you see 12 pages, people freak out. But when you realize that we've listed every kind of board game or listed every kind of genre of book, I'm just putting in a plug for don't be afraid of these long lists because they're really meant to help you be prompted to ask the questions. And here's another thought. Don't feel like you have to do that whole assessment in one shot, right? Give yourself, I want to go back actually, give yourself permission to do it in chunks, right? And it doesn't even have to just be you either. Let other people do chunks of that long Peli or long whatever assessment. So I just want to bring up a few closing remarks, everybody. Don't even look up there. It's kind of painful. I'll look. You don't have to, okay? And to wrap it up here, are any of you, let's see. Okay, Carmen, you can do it. I have a few slides I'm going to finish with. Look at these great quotes. Boredom can really lead to bad quality of life outcomes. Would you agree? Wow, strong statement. Our responsibility is to find out what it is that engages all of who they are. Isn't that beautiful? Use those quotes. Here's another one. It's meaningful relationships and purposeful engagement, even at end of life, that defines aging well. So are we on the right track, greenhouses? Yes. They want to be able to engage in meaningful activities that make a difference. Would you agree? It's beyond busy work, right? What makes a difference? That's my little girl hugging Victoria, everybody. It makes a difference to touch people's lives of all ages, doesn't it? And would anyone agree that we've got to stop letting wisdom be warehoused? We have older people who are not being asked their wisdom. What a glorious position you are in to ask people their wisdom. We go twice a month and ask elders for their wisdom. I have a book. Go create a book on wisdom. Sell the book, you know? Personally, I have a lot of cookbooks. Anybody else? I don't have one wisdom book. How about you? Maybe make it a project to ask beautiful questions. My favorite ever was one November, we asked the elders, what advice would you give to live a thankful life? Okay, this was so many years ago, and here's my favorite answer ever. This gentleman said, do the dishes. See, that's what beautiful old people teach younger people, right? How to live a thankful life is to do the dishes gladly, right? So you can do that. We actually have the children come in, and we're really purposeful about shaking hands and learning names. We make it a big deal to know each other's names. We then have the kids perform something if they want, but guess what? It's not really for the elders. It's more for the children to do things in front of a kind audience because our elders get a lot of entertainment, right? Then we ask the wisdom question of the day. I go around the circle. It's my joy to ask the residents. We've been recording this for years. And then we tell the residents, we'll see you next month. And before we go, we have a present. And I count however many of us there are, moms and kids. And I say, how many of you would like about 10 hugs before we go? And we make it purposeful to touch. So that's a gift you can all give, is to remind people to touch. Unless someone really makes it evident they don't want to be touched, elders are not being touched enough. And I just want to say this, everybody. Let's compete with bingo. What if your elders said, oh, honey, I don't have time for bingo. You know, they're coming at 5 o'clock for the letters for soldiers, and we need to write more. Or they're coming for the backpacks we have to fill. Or they're coming for the Afghans. I challenge you, greenhouses, to compete with bingo. There should be so many, in my mind, community service projects going on in your home that they don't want bingo. I'm sorry, but that's just my personal bent. Why do they love bingo so much? Probably because there's nothing else to do. And yes, there's competition. So my next point would be, how about you compete with bingo in that sense as well? That you provide other types of bingo games with the competition, with the prizes. Have you ever noticed we don't barely have to gather for bingo? They just appear. Have you ever noticed? So we have to capture what is it about that they just even come on their own. And lastly, I would just encourage you all to consider care planning. A couple things that I don't think always get care planned. One is individual engagement. What would engage you by yourself in your room? These are when a lot of the falls occur. I believe that by care planning individual engagement, we can do a lot for people, including perhaps prevent some falls, including prevent some depression. You get the idea. I also would encourage you to consider care planning getting people outside. It's that important. Would you agree? And now you're going to talk about it. Encourage family every time they're there to take someone out, even when it's cold, right? Don't you think Minnesotans know how to handle cold weather? Old Minnesotans? You see what I mean? Don't shy away. Going outside in the cold weather is an event. Get all bundled up, see how long you can last, and then when you come in, what could you drink? You know, the whole hot chocolate and unbundling, let it be the event, everybody. And then, you know, maybe ask people what their passions are. Is that a different answer than what activities they like to do? Just see what you find out. I think we should care plan music. How about you? It's that important. We've learned so much about it. Stimulates the brain, gets people moving. Something else you might consider is care planning a person's day. We don't usually do that. And what you can do by this, what you can learn, is where are the gaps? When do you worry about someone when they're by themselves and they might fall? To be honest, it's a nice way to look at preventing falls in a different way. So, any questions for me? Anybody? Anybody? We're running out of time. Can you start talking and I'll bring it? Thank you. Go ahead.
Statement actually that sometimes just being with someone is enough. You don't always have to fill the empty spaces with chatter or meaningless conversation.
Say it again. It was so
Sorry.
good. Say it again, everybody.
That's okay.
Listen
I
to
just
this.
said sometimes just being with someone is enough. You don't always have to talk or engage. You don't always have to fill empty spaces with meaningless chatter.
Round of applause for that woman. Thank you. We all forget that, including me. I got to study validation, everyone. Who knows validation? Naomi Feil. And one of the techniques is just a presence, everyone. And it was hard for me to not talk and not fix and not chatter. But I learned the most when my teacher I got to role play a woman I was studying, in validation. And when my teacher was the validating worker, that's what she did. She didn't talk. She just moved into the world of the person with touch on a hand or a knee. And she just was. And what a great way to close this out. Wouldn't you agree, everybody? Anything else? Anything else you're dying to say? Otherwise, what's your name? Missy. Way to go. Thank you, everyone. God bless.
So thank you to each of our participants, Carmen and Eric and Doreen. For CEUs, the word is convivium, and it's not on the slide. So let's see how